At the close of a tempestuous season, the spotlight falls sharply on a first-lap incident involving two names, Francesco Bagnaia and Johann Zarco. A collision at turn 4 not only ended Bagnaia's race after a mere 25 seconds, but also ignited a wave of debate about the fine line between racing aggression and recklessness. What initially appeared a commonplace racing mishap, in truth, harbours layers of narrative, from intricate technical misunderstandings to unbearable psychological pressure at season's end. Here is a deep dive analysis, dissecting Bagnaia's forgiving verdict and Zarco's profound remorse, painting a true portrait of MotoGP drama that often escapes the naked eye. Speed is everything in MotoGP, yet in Valencia, on the day that decided the season, even speed could be vanquished by a stroke of ill fortune lasting but an instant. Francesco Bagnaia, arriving at the finale under heavy duress and mounting pressure, nevertheless displayed signs of a heroic resurgence. Despite starting from 16th, courtesy of a fuel-filling blunder in qualifying, a detail that laid bare how grueling the second half of the season had been for the factory Ducati squad. Honestly, the race lasted only 25 seconds, said Bagnaia, his disappointment palpable. Yet, in those fleeting 25 seconds, Pecco bared his fangs. I was ready enough. I overtook 6 riders, so it was a good start. Bagnaia's extraordinary push forward amid the ferocious opening lap scrap affirmed that, despite every obstacle, a top 6 finish, a result he deemed fantastic given his weekend's woes, remained within reach. He was aggressive, yet controlled, a balance utterly crucial in the opening skirmish. Yet his heroic tale was cut short at turn 4, when Johann Zarco, astride his LCR Honda, slammed into the flank of Bagnaia's Desmosedici GP. Asked for his view on the incident, Bagnaia delivered a response of maturity and professionalism, reflecting the mindset of a team leader. Zarco just missed the breaking point a little, and it was a racing incident. I think it was a racing incident, something that can happen, he asserted. This verdict matters. Bagnaia offered no harsh criticism, no accusation of intent or carelessness. He acknowledged that in the heat of a first-lap battle, on a notoriously tricky circuit like Valencia, the margin for error shrinks to nothing. To him, Zarco was merely a touch too optimistic in his overtaking attempt. Regarding the long lap penalty handed to Zarco by race direction, Bagnaia voiced his support. The penalty they gave him was the right one and fair, he said, closing the book on what the ideal sanction ought to be. Bagnaia's acceptance of the incident as an inherent part of high-speed racing reveals his professional maturity, even though it cost him the chance to end the season on a high note. Across the garage, amid the frenzy of the LCR Honda camp, Johann Zarco faced the cameras with an expression of deep regret. The crash, forcing him to serve the penalty and shattering Bagnaia's hopes, stemmed from a chain of split-second decisions and a purely technical misjudgment. I apologise hugely to Pecco, Zarco said with sincerity. Zarco's explanation furnishes a context far more complex than a simple braking failure. The root lay with another rider, his compatriot, Fabio Quartararo. Quartararo, starting 6th, suffered a grave issue with his front holeshot device, which failed to disengage after the launch. The holeshot, which locks the front suspension to boost acceleration, is meant to release at the first corner. Seeing Quartararo struggling, his bike still locked through turns 1 and 2, Zarco drew a fatal conclusion. Quartararo might be saddled with a permanent technical fault. The aim was to pass Fabio as quickly as possible, to avoid losing time behind him, because if he stayed with the front fork locked all lap, I would lose time, and overtaking would not be easy, Zarco explained. The decision to overtake Quartararo aggressively at turn 4 was driven by the desire to seize the gap and avoid being stuck behind a crippled rider. Pure racing instinct, a risk calculation to minimise loss. Yet this snap decision triggered a cascade of errors. Then, on the direction change while braking, I decided to pass him, but when I moved, it was very difficult to slow the bike and avoid Brad Binder, Zarco admitted. Entering turn 4 too hot, Zarco faced a brutal fraction of a second choice: collide with Brad Binder ahead or run wide. He chose to dodge Binder, a safety-driven instinct, yet it steered him straight into Pecco Bagnaia's path, because if I tried to enter turn 4, I would hit Brad Binder, so I avoided Brad. But the way I had to avoid him, I ran wide and crossed Pecco's line. The collision was quite hard. Zarco's confession, accepting the penalty because he knew his actions caused another rider to fall, displays the honesty of a professional. He shouldered full responsibility, though his initial motive was pure racing. The Valencia incident, though confined to the opening lap, stands as a symbol of Bagnaia's strife-filled second half. In broader reflection, Bagnaia conceded how punishing the season had been for him and his team. Anyway, "One of the toughest seasons, and perhaps the worst I've ever had, especially the final part," he said. Bagnaia catalogued a litany of setbacks: the massive crash in Barcelona, tyre troubles in Malaysia, the qualifying error in Valencia. He began linking this run of bad luck to mental state. "Negativity is never the key," Bagnaia said. He felt that dwelling too much on the negative of late had attracted negative things. This philosophy, that mindset shapes outcomes, offers profound insight into the psychological pressure bearing down. He admitted his team too had grown weary, leading to collective mistakes. Bagnaia's wish to end the season with joy, as he felt through those first 3 corners in Valencia, went unfulfilled. For him, Zarco's crash was not merely a physical loss, but confirmation that the streak of misfortune he had tried to evade still lurked. Having heard Pecco Bagnaia's first-hand testimony, labeling it a normal racing incident, and Johann Zarco's transparent admission of a braking error while dodging binder and misreading Quartararo, the crucial question still hangs in the air. Though Bagnaia deems the long lap penalty fair, do we, as fans and observers, agree with that verdict? Or, given the colossal impact on Bagnaia and a race that lasted just 25 seconds, does Zarco deserve a harsher sanction, perhaps a double long lap, or even a grid penalty for the next round? In your view, does Zarco's explanation absolve him of serious fault? Or must he bear full accountability for the over-optimism he himself concedes? Share your thoughts and let us debate the boundaries of aggression and racing ethics in the comments below.